From the great state of Texas, you are now listening to Skip the Noise podcast, a Rounded Edge Media production. Thank you so much for joining us. And by us, it's a little bit different tonight. You got myself here, Benji, and I've got a special guest with me tonight. Rick and Mexican Nostradamus were not able to. We just kind of had a weird week where it just didn't line up, man. We normally make it happen, at least two of us, but I got somebody here to save the day, man. So we can keep these things pumping out just like we do week in, week out. You know, as podcasters are dedicated folks, we like to keep a schedule and make sure we fulfill that. So I have a special guest this evening. Shepard from Deep Meaningful Conversations, or Deep MCs, is on the program tonight and will be joining me. Good friend of mine. It's got about 7 shows deep now on the podcast. So I just wanted to introduce Shepard and tell us about your show.
What's going on, man? What's going on? Obviously, we're actually, I think, number eight in the whole for. It's going fast, man. It's going fast. But like I say, I owe a lot of it to you too, man, for pushing me out to get it started. I wouldn't get started if I didn't have the push. But yeah, I mean, really, all we're about is deep, meaningful conversations. You know, getting into anything really. You know, it started out as kind of I wanted to focus on mental health, but then just kind of developed into just diving in and going intimate, being intimate, I guess is what it comes down to. And it sounds weird because intimate people mostly think about the sexual part of it, right? But
right,
it's getting a little more in depth with your friends, with your family, with just kind of everybody on a daily basis, man. And I think it's good. It's going good so far, and hopefully we'll keep it going. We'll keep it rolling.
Yeah, man, for sure. And that's true, man. I really like your show. I mean, obviously I'm biased because you know, we're homies and all that, but
right.
But either way, I would like, if I didn't even know you, I would like the show. And I'm saying, it's like I said, it's hard to believe somebody when they say that when we know each other and shit. But no, I'm being straight up. The show has definitely kind of formed into something that's really cool. And like you said, it's you get these conversations that you don't necessarily have in regular life, and unless you really make a point. That's the thing, because it is tough subjects, right? That you don't really get past the surface. You don't realize something with your interactions day to day that you don't really get. Those conversations don't hit that same level, especially now, man, with people, just the way that the society is, and people very like these little quick hitters, man. It never gets much past the surface. So yeah, y'all provide a really good avenue to look into those things. And I've enjoyed each one, man. They keep getting better each time, man. It's no bullshit. So
I appreciate that a lot, man.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. And both, you know, Shepard and myself are, you know, big up Houston. We just had 713 day.
That's right.
July 13th. So big up fellow Houstonian in the house. And that being said, so Texas, things are going to change a little bit come September 1st. There will be the constitutional carry, a new law authorized by our governor, Greg Abbott, which will basically mean that you will no longer need a permit whatsoever to openly carry a handgun in public.
No, sir.
No, not at all. And I know there's a lot of different sides to this. You know, I've heard differing opinions within and without the law enforcement community. You know, some police officers seem to be excited about this. Some are more cautious. I'm kind of curious, man, to your personal opinion on this, because I mean, I've got some thoughts, but I haven't. This is kind of a tricky one for me, man, and it's funny. So I guess, I mean, first and foremost, you know, you don't do video as normally you guys say. And if you guys are new to Skip the Noise, right, we have Benji and we have his 2 partners, right, but basically everybody was like, I'm Hispanic, right? So you always kind of hear the racist shout out. So for those that don't know, I am black, right? So this makes it real tricky because I'm black, but I also love guns. I love guns, man. And I'm actually, to be honest with you, I don't like it. You know, I'm a firm believer in the Second Amendment. You know, I believe everybody has a right to bear arms. I really do. I have more guns than probably anybody needs to have in their life, but I'm not okay with
any and everybody being able to just strap up. I mean, Texas was already pretty free, right? Like you could already walk into Academy, fill out a paper and walk out with an AR. And I'm like, that guy does not, does not need that. Right. But now not only can you just walk in and pick it up, but you can basically brand the shit around.
Yeah.
You know,
in public, you can go to a park. You can literally like twirl it. Yeah, dude, you can twirl it in your hand.
Right. Everybody
fucking Dirty Harry.
Yeah. Big old Dirty Harry, 12-inch barrel, you know, with their 6-shooter on and whatnot. But it's going to be crazy, man, at the end of the day. And I think, I hate to say it, but I think it's going to probably be more bad than good. You know,
I agree, man. I agree. I'm like you, you know, I am all for Second Amendment, but I just think there's two things. My thoughts on this. One is that it's like, you know, it's like automobile. You know what I mean? I mean, shit, dude, that's a dangerous thing if in the wrong hands, correct?
Right.
You know, you can't have a 10-year-old driving a car around on the freeway. That could be problematic. Right. You know what I mean? At best. So there's a series
in the van that went to California by the Lambo.
Yeah, he went to California. That was amazing. That shit. What was that? It was like maybe 6 months or a year. I don't know. Time is weird to me. I don't even. It doesn't.
I didn't mean to cut you off, but just reminded me when you said.
No. But that got me excited because I remember that story and that was amazing. Yeah, an 8-year-old stole his parents' van with the aspirations of purchasing a Lamborghini for what he had. He had $20 on him or
something like that. Probably less than that.
Yeah. Why not? I mean, you know what's funny is if he showed up and did try to purchase a Lambo, one of those dealers would make something happen for him financially, right? They'd be like, no, don't worry about it. We ain't going to turn you away. Yeah, you're just going to be paying off of this for the next 275 years, but it's all good. Your grandkids on some, 60% interest, but yeah, go ahead and give us that $20 down payment and we'll put you in a Lambo for you. But yeah, man. So they give you have to take a test to drive a fucking car. So I just don't. Well, first of all, like, where did this come from? My second point to this is like, nobody, like the public wasn't in outrage. Like, God damn it, I can't carry a fucking pistol wherever the fuck I want. Nobody said that, dude. No fucking body said that. Meanwhile, we can't keep our power on by the skin of our fucking teeth when any kind of mild disaster happens, or major. I'm not trying to downplay the ice storm. It was pretty fucking up, but it definitely exposed. Or my point is that there's other shit to pay attention to right now, and it's.
I think that's why, though, man. Yeah. I think that's exactly the nail on the head, right? Is because there are so many other things that we need to be paying attention to. So I feel it's like a distraction. I feel it's a distraction for sure. Because it's easy to get people riled up on guns, and it does take a big suck away, when you put that up there. Oh, we have no power. We're mad about this, man. Oh, what about the guns? What about the guns? And get everybody distracted. And I think that's what it boils down to, because you're right. I mean, here in Texas, nobody is like, what we need. I mean, come on now. We have silencers, fully automatic machine guns, cannons, anything you can. No one cares. No one cares. No.
And here's the thing too, this is the unfortunate part, is like everybody already has fucking guns. Like this doesn't, like, in other words, like nobody who didn't have a gun before is gonna have one now. Everybody's already like this. In other words, like this is all a fucking show. It's politics. This is all. This is politics.
And I was listening to one of your other episodes though too, and you brought up a good point in that one too, where we talked about, is it just going to give people the opportunity to harass?
Yeah. Right? Police officers. Yeah. And that's what you were touching on earlier, man, as a Black American, dude. I mean, yeah. And I think I made the joke on that episode, like, oh, what could possibly go wrong? Because now it's like, there's all these laws in place. Sure, the citizen can do whatever, but that also opens it up for law enforcement to say, like, hey, wait a minute. Why are you already the law is created for some people and not others, right? So on that aspect, there's a lot of shit behind that, dude. Like, and all because, like I said, it just the baseline sort of reality of it is like nobody was like asking for this shit.
No,
it just came out. It came out of nowhere. And to your point, about the distraction, yeah, dude, guns. And it's he's up for re-election, all this shit. The guns. You're right. It's one of those hot button topics, just like abortion or whatever. And it's weird. What I hate is that these topics get sucked into just because they are hot button and they're very divisive and they're very emotional.
Right.
So that's part of all the dog and pony show and the dance that they do for the TV. But when in reality, like nobody can. I mean, here's the thing: abortion. I'm not downplaying it, dude, because it's a gnarly topic because it's it's a life, right? Like, I mean, I'm for women to be able to choose, and just, I mean, that's just my stance, right? But at the same time, it's not a clear cut. I mean, there's the time, like, one day before you're about to give birth, I'm maybe not okay with that, right? So there's right? Yeah, there's lines to be drawn.
Umbilical on the way out.
Yeah, no, that's pretty. Yeah, I'm not okay with that.
Yeah, that's not where you want it. That's not where you want to go.
No, that's not where I'm headed. Yeah, yeah, I don't want to see any of that.
So now that you said that, though, but if you really think about it, and like you said, he's up for re-election right now. Do you think that it's a double play? And what I mean by that is, by bringing up the guns, he's going to cause a distraction from everything that has happened in the state thus far. But also, B, now that the NRA is here, if he throws that in there, that's more money in his pocket.
Yeah. That's exactly what it is. And you know what else it said? Like, you see, either brought up the distractions. Well, what else is going on? Well, all the Democratic House members are bolt in town because of these voter restriction laws. And
get me started,
dude, bro. Yeah, I mean, well, that's another thing I kind of wanted to get into. So you said don't get me started, but Shep, I am getting you started.
Well, we're gonna get started.
We're gonna get a little bit on the voting rights. So we brought this up on another show too. Ben and Rick vehemently debated this, and where I stand on it is like, yes, I don't. The argument, right, is that we want to prevent fraud, but this whole thing has been created by this sort of idea that the election was stolen and that Trump was wronged and Biden's not the legitimate president. Like, that's where that all comes from. I mean, the voting's been the same the whole time. COVID definitely opened up some avenues, which I think were positive.
Right.
I think it should. I think for anybody that's eligible to vote, it should be easy as fuck. It should be the easiest fucking thing to do, period. It's harder to fucking cast a vote than to own a goddamn gun now. What message does that send? Does that make sense? Like, so obviously that's the distraction. And not only that, like, to get back on that topic, fucking Abbott said he was going to have these motherfuckers arrested and shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, the vote, like, you got, what do you, obviously I'm sure you have some thoughts on this, the voting shit, but yeah, what's your take on that, man?
Man, I mean, at the end of the day, the whole thing is bullshit. Yeah. And you're right. I think everybody should have the right and the freedom to vote. I mean, that's our God-given right. Right. And to restrict anybody from that. And to be all honest, the whole process of who can and who can't vote as a whole is a joke. We're going to say, this person can't vote because, they have this, that, or the other. Right. But I mean, come on. Some of that stuff that we exclude people for, I sometimes question to see, is it more so because, I mean, at the end of the day, we know there's suppression for race or whatever the reason is, but I mean, the bull, you got arrested with this. Now you can't vote. Like, seriously, no one's ever made a mistake in their life. The stuff that you're doing right now is probably worse than what you're saying that person that can't vote did, it's just frustrating, man. At the end of the day, it's just extremely frustrating to see that they would even want to do this. And not just that, but, and I'll use like the Trump election that had happened before when he got elected, right? There's a lot of people that were backing President Trump that you probably never thought would have, right? Mm-hmm. So at the end of the day, why would you take the opportunity to possibly you're going to suppress someone who actually might have been on your side. You know,
yeah, no, for sure.
It's a 50-50 chance, right? Like you're not even giving the people the opportunity to vote. It could have gone in your favor, but now you could have taken votes out of your pocket by doing this, right? I mean, just let people do what they need to do. You know, our government's already fucked up. The way things are set up already fucked up. Like, why take away from that? You know?
Yeah, no, exactly. And also too, like if you really truly believe in democracy, you should want it opened up in the most fair possible, because you want your leaders to be representatives of the people in which they serve, straight up. And obviously that's not what they want, because you look at things like I saw this little video where it brought up a good point that you rarely think about. So let's say, so you got these prisons, right? Right. that are always out in the middle of at least like white rural districts. Okay. Well, you've got, you add to the population, right? You give that population more voting power because technically they've got citizens. Let's say it's a facility that houses like, I don't know, fucking
too damn many.
5,000 inmates. Okay. It's a big, whatever. Yeah. And it's 5,000 inmates in a specific district, right? That now you've got, so your population and your voting power increases, right? But none of those people are going to vote. And the ones that are in there, as we know, statistically speaking, especially like in the state of Texas and similar states, the minority population is heavily outweighed the white population of incarcerated peoples. So you see what I'm getting at, like how that works. Yeah, like you're increasing the voting power with a population that's not going to vote.
Yeah.
So it's like there's little ways, like, dude, there's all these little things that
stacking the deck, man.
That they're fucking stacking the deck. That's the perfect way to put it. They're stacking the deck.
But
I know I'm already fucking feeling Rick listening to this episode, like fuck, like he's throwing his shit around, like he can't chime in on this. But hey, man.
You should have been here, man.
They should have been here, dude. I don't know.
Here, you know. But I mean, really, that's what it is, you know. But at the end of the day, man, I honestly can't. I mean, it pisses me off, but at the same time, I can't be mad at them. It's hard, right? Because we always tell, if it's any other situation, we say, you know, take advantage of the situation, use all the tools that you can. Right. But then when it comes to this, it's like, how dare you play to your advantage, you know? Use the tools to your advantage.
For sure. And I guess that's where you get into sort of the philosophical side of it. It's like, so we do have this, and we're branching out. Like, I can already tell this is gonna be a fun episode. Yeah, this is gonna like go into some kind of tangents when Benji's running the helm, shit gets a little weird. So just,
that's all right. I'm right there.
Exactly. Yeah. We're kind of on that frequency. What was I going to say? Oh, so like, God damn it, dude, I got lost in the woods. What did I say? What was the last thing I said before I went on that?
Oh, damn. Shit. We were talking about using tools to your advantage.
Oh, yes. So in the business side of things, like that's the name of the game.
For sure.
Right. Sure. And that's what we're at the end of the day, Americanism, or just being an American, when you look at it culturally, it's about fucking profit.
Oh, 100%.
That drives everything. They say cash rules everything around me. Wu-Tang, fucking profit.
Cream.
That's what it really it's at the end of the day, it's profit. So why is that different than cash? Profit implies something different. Profit implies obviously expanding what you're getting on the top,
right?
But also minimizing the shit on the bottom.
Yeah, minimizing
the losses. Yeah, or not the losses, but expenses, right? Expenses. So what are expenses? Expenses are shit that gets in the way of you making more money.
100%.
And that's how they. So if you look at it through that lens, you'll understand everything that goes down in America, dude. I had a coworker. She was from France, really good friend of mine. And matter of fact, she's got some aspirations of her own to diving into this world a bit. So that's, like I said, I always try to tease little shit. So you might see that coming sooner than later. I don't know. Anyway, how's that? more the merrier. Everybody who's that, this is real democracy right here.
Right.
So she was telling, she grew up in France. We were talking about we had all kinds of crazy conversations at work and shit and whatever. But like one of the things I got into, because she would always ask these questions, like, noticing these like discernible differences between Americans and, Europeans, or even more specifically, French people.
Right.
And it was like, but more so the common theme was always like the difference between American mindset and the European mindset. And I told her, I was like, man, it looked like everything here, the whole culture, if it's the goal of everything is profit, and everything, once you understand that, just everything makes sense, man. Like, unfortunately, and that's everything. Whereas like other cultures are older, right? They come from before the Industrial Revolution. They've have these things and these ideas in their head that have permeated through, even if it's gotten dissolved over time, there's still like this like essence of real human shit.
Yeah.
America doesn't have that, bro. You know what I'm saying?
No,
it's not really there, dude.
We're driven straight by and what I was thinking about this other day too, and it's kind of weird if you really think about it, man. I mean, we're so driven by something that in all honesty has no fucking value. Like the dollar really has no fucking value, man. Like, at all.
No, it doesn't.
If we want more of it, we're gonna print more of it, and if we want to say this is worth whatever it is, we're gonna say this is worth whatever it is. We're obsessed. We're at the end of the day, we're obsessed with nothing.
Yeah, we're obsessed with nothing. It's true. It's true. Like if you have, so here, dude. All right, it's metaphor time. So if you got a crazy motherfucker, like, he's on meth, dude, and he's a berserker. He's just foaming at the mouth. He's got a fucking machete and he's in a Walmart. And you're like, hey man, fucking chill, dude. Leave everybody alone. And you just start like making it rain. Like he's a fucking stripper. Like, fucking don't fucking hit me with the he doesn't give a shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that money ain't shit.
The money, man. Not at all.
You're getting that machete to the fucking side of the head, dude. Like, you don't care how
he's
much.
Gonna be beating on you when the cops show up. He's still gonna be hacking
exactly, dude. He's still, he's gonna be trying to eat you and shit, like Florida basalt.
Yeah, man. But that's the thing, right? So I question as Americans, like, why do we continue to do this? Why do we continue down? And at what point is that even going to change, man? Like, at what point are we going to be like, when a loaf of bread's $2 million,
bro? Like, fucking, dude, I saw this shit. I remember, like, so being a young kid, like in the 80s, right, with Soviet Union,
right?
You hear all these stories, like, and you're almost like, God damn, like, they can't even be real, like how they're living. You hear all these shit about the, bread lines, and you hear just how fucked up it is. And plus that, a lot of that's filtered through like propaganda. That's like, oh, we're good and they're bad. Right. Ivan Drago's a shithead who does steroids, and Rocky's a fucking hard working, you know what I mean, Italian from Philly running up in the mountains, and like that shit is so propaganda, bro. Like, how much did the fucking U.S. government pay Sylvester Stallone to make that fucking movie?
Oh god, dude, they financed a whole lot of it,
bro. Dude. That movie was fucking written, scored, produced, and directed by Ronald Reagan.
America.
But anyway, but yeah, dude. So I would watch. I saw it recently. That's the thing. Like, so I have all these ideas in my head how fucked up Russia was, or the Soviet Union. So I remember hearing about, oh, they got a McDonald's and blah blah blah. Bro, I saw pictures like recently, like within the last year or something, due to the internet, right? Like, everything's available now. So all these things you used to just imagine in your head are now just like, oh fuck, you can Google Earth that shit, and I can zoom in on homeboy's backyard and be like, that's what they do in Sweden in their backyards on Sunday evening. You know what I mean? Like, nothing's fucking a mystery or
right,
whatever. So I saw these pictures of the fucking line at McDonald's, dude. It was like, goddamn like blocks of people just like for some shitty. I was like, it tripped me out the fuck out because I'm like something that we're just like, oh shit, like whatever, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Let me get a McDouble.
Let me get a McDouble so I can get the shits tonight.
Yes, exactly. These people are like, they're lining up, like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, but I don't know why, man. I don't know. And maybe they're gonna hate me because it sounds like I'm bashing my country, but
right.
you know, we want to go somewhere else. Everybody else wants to be here. You know, we put something American out there. I don't know if it's the idea, maybe it's the dream in their own head. You know, they see something that's American and it triggers something in their mind that they think is great, and that's what they latch on to. But I know exactly what you're talking about, man. I mean, first of all, nobody should be lining around the block for McDonald's anywhere.
No, nowhere.
But they do. And why? The fuck if I know, man. It's not that great. You know, what are we selling? what are they buying into? What are they believing in? You know,
and that's what it is. You know? That's fucking brilliant because that highlights exactly what that is, right? It's a fucking it's kind of depressing.
Yeah.
Because it shows, it's like a perfect example of like almost a social experiment where you get to see all these people like they're so desperate that they're just like, fuck man, let me cling on to whatever America, like in their head, right, is this beautiful like free idea. I have to have that. Like everybody wants that. My neighbors want it. Everybody wants it. Well, they're just getting some McNuggets. Right. Like we wipe our ass with McNuggets, dude. Yeah, bro. I'll give that to a fucking stray cat, dude. Like McNuggets are dog shit. Like, but fuck, dude. I mean, that's like a perfect analogy for like the whole. Everything.
America is a McNugget.
Bro, America is a McNugget. Fully.
There you go. Post it. We are out, ladies and gentlemen.
Shit, yeah, we're done. There it is. Time stamp, time of death, 10:52 p.m. Yeah, we just solved it. We solved the riddle. We're done. Everything's over. You can stop your podcast, whoever you are out there. Fucking figure it out.
America's a McNugget, man.
It is a McNugget, and it's like it's fitting too. So I don't have a brilliant transition piece for you, but I did want to talk a little bit about. Dude, I like this so far. I feel like we're weaving in and out of like each other's shows. Right, like we're having, you know what I mean? Like we're kind of discussing like current stuff and news, but then we're taking it a step further and getting into like the deep shit. This is fucking brilliant. This is a brilliant collab.
It's a good thing.
I love it. It is. It's wonderful. I love it already. But I did want to talk about, so we were speaking about like corporations and like the bullshit. So politics, right, is one thing. Right. There's the dog and pony show to kind of lead you into these different things. And I mean, it's very obvious, right? When people point out, you always see some interesting videos. And if you're so inclined, look it up on wherever. It's just like what politicians say during election time versus like, you know, when they're just in office and it's regular. It's fucking crazy. Like there's examples all over the place of literally saying like the opposite shit. You know, they're on the panel. 100%. They're on the panel with whatever. They're just they're not like representatives of what you think they're representing. They're just fucking up there to keep their asses in office and keep a job, dude. That's what they're doing.
Yeah. No.
But anyway,
say whatever you want to hear, man.
Yeah. Exactly. And just like whatever you want to hear. And so corporate. On the corporate side, right? The non-public sector. I just thought this was interesting, right? That there's a new space race in town, and it's by it becomes like a dick waving contest between these like celebrity CEOs. So obviously we had heard that Jeff Bezos of Amazon fame had some aspirations of getting himself into space, and he had made it public and all these things. Well, lo and behold, our the air quotes Maverick CEO. The fuck's his first name? I know Branson is his last name.
Richard.
I should have. Yeah. Okay. Richard, right?
Yeah.
Good old, little Richard.
Dick. Whatever.
He's Silver Fox. Little Dick.
Little Dick.
Little Dick. He's swinging his like double. I don't even know, man. This fucking spacecraft with him and some other people. He gets up there, and I like how the bottom of it is like a fucking Virgin like advertisement.
Yeah.
Like, so,
That's all it is, man.
yeah.
And it's funny that until I heard of this, man, I completely forgot he even was alive. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, when's the last time you heard Virgin? I mean, Virgin Records back in the day. Okay, maybe. Yeah, I remember a couple planes. I don't ever see planes at the terminals anymore. I don't know, man. I thought he just disappeared, died on his island somewhere years ago. But yeah, his asshole's back, and it is exactly what you're saying. It's a pissing competition, man, and it's. Who can get there first? We're having our own space race, but in America, it's fucking ridiculous. Like, there's way better things you could be doing with that money, right? Than trying to be relevant. He wants to be relevant.
What is he? He was in space, and they were floating around for fucking 15 minutes. Literally, that's all he did. And it's like, okay, cool. We've already like. Yeah, it costs a fortune. We already have robots on Mars, dickhead. Like, what the fuck? You're in a fucking hot air balloon? That's the equivalent.
Yeah, it's pretty much what it is. I mean, he got just high enough to crest out the atmosphere for 15 minutes, right? It came right
like,
back
ooh,
down.
like, yeah, this is space. Like, like there was some asshole that measured, and this is true. There was a dude on the project who was assigned to like minimize the whatever, like the cost. So he's got to determine, okay, what is the minimum height or altitude that we can attain that would be considered space?
See, that right there lets you know that you're really not doing it big, right?
No.
When you have to say, just get us to the cusp, right? We're gonna edge our way through this, right? We're not gonna come. We're just gonna edge our
exactly.
way.
Yeah, we're just gonna, like, if we rub the tip right on the fucking just rub the lips with it. Technically, it's still sex,
right? We parted the lips. Yeah, Rich.
Right,
the fucking dick part of the lips is what it boils down to.
That's it. Man, that's it. It's like on the instant replay, the nose of the football it broke the plane, right? It's a touchdown, bro. Dude, 2 arms up.
I feel like there had to have been like some billionaire bet somewhere or some shit, man. Like, who could do it first? It has to be. Like, this guy just came out of nowhere, sucker punch Bezos, took his thunder.
He did too, and that's what makes it funny. So, like, as much as that we're criticizing him, I think that's fucking hilarious, because obviously he heard about it, and it was like, nope, I've got more money. Well, he doesn't have more money, but I mean, blah blah blah. I've got the bigger dick or whatever. So I'm gonna whatever resources. But that's how he did it, right? He might have had even spies on Bezos' side to know like where they're at, like how far along they were.
Yeah.
And that's how he made that calculation and got it up first. Cause Bezos, that's the other thing that what I'm laughing in my head is, like, even though Bezos was cordial about it, like, oh, cool. Maybe I'll get to join the club next or whatever. In his head, man, his ego was so attached to that idea of him fucking doing that. He had to have had like, I wish there was camera footage of the Bezos fucking meltdown, like shit fest in his own room when nobody was looking.
He lost his shit, dude. Bezos isn't gonna be able to get a hard on for a month now.
No, is that the result?
He's destroyed. He's destroyed.
Yeah,
you can't tell me that he's not a guy that has built a business that's set on taking over the world. He was fucking pissed.
He was.
But it's funny though, because I think about. I mean, I always think about the resources that are going into this that's being wasted, but B, at the end of the day, what the fuck is it all for? Like, you guys aren't doing it to, at least Elon's trying to say, we're going to put a colony on Mars, something, right? Something that's going to be beneficial. You guys are doing it to just, Johnny got a new car, so I want to get a new car.
I want to get a bigger one. And not only that,
news.
And not only that, but for like Bezos, like, really, like, examine, like, before you think you're big shit, like really examine, he basically, well, here's what Jeff Bezos did. Over a course of time, he made it possible to order, for people to virtually order something on their computer or phone and have it show up to their house in like 35 fucking seconds.
Right.
Which that's great. Okay. Obviously,
wonderful.
He came and hit, bravo, golf clap. Which is something that like sort of spells out the preposterousness of the whole shit. Like we keep kind of coming back to this theme of nobody asked for that possibility or that reality, but it's all driven by this like competition in this sort of aim to be, if you're not stepping on their throats, just like the voting shit, like if you're not taking the advantage of being on top and you're not kicking the dude, like, if you're on the top of a hill, right, and the bad guy at the end of the movie's got his little fingertips on there, dude, it's checkmate, dude. You can just stomp on dude's fingers or whatever.
Yeah, kick him in the face.
So that's Bezos. That's all these other companies are just little henchmen, dude, with their little fingertips on the top of the hill, and he's just like, like stomping on their fucking fingers. Like that's how easy it is because of the position he's attained at this point. And that's what he obviously, that's what he does to his workers and shit.
Do you think Bezos actually made Amazon? Do you think that he actually did it? Because I mean, think about it. This was a fucking nerd that wanted to recycle college books,
right?
How do you go from, I want to make a website to sell these old ass college books, to writing algorithms and owning computer towers and having, like, bro, you're telling me you couldn't come up with that back then? The best you had was recycling college books, and now you're inventing, like, right? Like, it just seems weird that someone that, like, completely different realm of business, completely different mindset, completely different. It's completely different. So do you think he really did it by himself, or do you think that someone came up with it and they're buried in his backyard somewhere?
Gotcha. Okay, I see what you're saying. Because well, I mean, even if it was all legit or there was integrity, like obviously you rely on other people, like,
right?
Anybody like that who amasses such an empire, and on some level they've got some sort of intelligence, because even if it's not their ideas, they at least should get credit, right? On some level for like coordinating the whole thing. But to your point, I wonder, because you hear about those like tech giants, right? Where it's always like the Facebook shit, right? I never really, I kind of saw the movie, so I don't know the full story, but basically, right, at the end of the day, didn't Zuckerberg kind of fuck somebody over? Like they actually came up with the shit, and he kind of, wasn't that kind of the deal?
I mean, I could be wrong. Mark, sue me. I don't have any money, you bitch.
Yeah. But Lizard King, or
exactly, right? He basically, he was around when someone had the idea, and he basically took the idea and just developed it a little bit better on his own. Like, he's like, oh, that's a great idea, I'm gonna go do that myself. Right. And more or less how it came down. Yeah. Right. And because he did it first, he was the one that got to say, this is mine. I don't know, man. I just find it so hard to believe that someone like Bezos was able to, not saying that he didn't, but it just seems too drastically different to be like, you know what? I don't want to sell college books anymore. I want to take over the world and deliver everything. Yeah. I don't know. And maybe we're getting a conspiracy right now.
Dude, that is kind of interesting though. Cause like, you wonder where that relationship lies between, dude, here we go. We're about to get fucking we're about to hit a weird frequency here. So pre-warning.
Everybody buckle up.
Everybody buckle up. Maybe have a friend in the room, but just to have a touch point, man. Like it's a little. So if you, under the supposition, if you will, that like the government and business Right. There's ties there, right? There's money being thrown around and decisions get made. Decisions get made in Washington 100% because in corporate interest, right? That's not even a fucking whatever.
Oh no, for sure.
But when you get into even the deeper layers of that shit, you do wonder, right? If there's like, here's this entity, like, fuck, man, China does the shit, but they do it like wide open.
Right.
How close if it's all like perception, right? How close, or you got to wonder like how much shit actually goes on similar to what the fuck they're doing in China. We know how to fluff it up and make it seem like it's something else. We know. Yeah, we make it pretty. We put some lipstick on that piggy and we make it look nice and ready for the show. And that's how you eat that bacon, you know?
No,
we tell you it's not a piggy, you know, or whatever. I'm kind of going crazy with this, but like, yeah, you do wonder if like some entity was like, this guy he's created this sort of thing, right? There's some potential there. This could end up being
something big.
You know, this could end up, right? Yeah, this could be something big. Let's make sure we get some eyeballs on that, and we make sure we put our people involved in that, and then yeah, maybe the whole thing was created. It brings up the question, right? Like, even if it's not that, maybe he did. Maybe Bezos is that badass, and he's.
I'm calling bullshit.
Yeah. I'm starting. You're starting to convince me too. But I never really thought about it like that. I just sort of on the surface was like, oh yeah, he did what he did. Yeah. But yeah, when you really kind of question, these moguls and like what was behind it, because nobody does that shit themselves. Like,
no, not at all. And something that big.
Yeah, and you can't, or just in general, like people, like you didn't do anything by yourself.
No.
Like, are you fucking? You know what I mean? Unless you're ridiculous. Like Bear Grylls drinking his own piss out in the mountains. Like if you're in a society, like other people, you know what I mean? You're somebody's paying you money so that you can buy your house. Like, right. It's all interconnected. That's my point.
Yeah.
So yeah, but is it another level where it's like sort of forcing the issue? You know, and like, it'd be nice to have a surveillance. Like, here's where I'm going. And this is why I told everybody to buckle up. Here we have a surveillance operation that literally has data from every single, because we've created a culture around expecting whatever you want to show up at your door in 5 fucking seconds, or everybody's fucking riots in the streets. Yeah. And now we've got you. Just like Google, right? We have, I heard a fucking theory where they were talking about the way that like AI was created was by developing things like Google, to where it's basically collecting data from the human, like the, what do you call it? The collective consciousness of humanity, bro. Right. And like, that's what's shaping the goddamn program. Like, that's how it's discerning, like how it runs. And you got to wonder, man, like, it was Google, you know, did they throw some money under the table for people to develop that under some research and development, like China style, like of the state, but it's really in the guise of business. Like, the free enterprise is an illusion in itself. Fuck.
Yeah, No, okay. I'm going with you. I'm going with you on this, man.
Here we go.
We're going. I apologize, skip the noise, listeners, man. I'm fucking up the whole show, but
oh, not at all, brother.
So
it's like my dream show.
If you think about it, right? So, okay, the difference between America and China. They say, oh, we don't want to be like China because, you know, China's communist, you know, whatever the government says is what goes, whatever, right? But in America, if we package it as a benefit to you, as something that we're trying to sell you, then it's more palatable to everybody that lives in America because they view it as being different. And what I mean by that is, if you take Amazon, right? So here we go. We have everybody in the Pentagon sitting there, wherever the fuck they plan this bullshit. But they say, how can we get Americans to give us all their information and give them the buy-in, right? And they create Amazon. And if you think about Amazon as a whole, not only is there a database because you buy everything on Amazon, right? Not only is there a database because they know what you're watching, but they literally reach every avenue of American society through their AWS internet, their platform hosting.
Yeah.
Everybody goes through AWS. So now, oh no, we're not spying on you. You're using Amazon's hosting platform that you run your business through, that you run, everything that you do, and it's packaged all nice and pretty as a service, through this one company that, they say the logo's a smile. It looks like the underside of a bent dick. But whatever, because maybe it is a dick. Maybe we're getting fucked, right? Both the Amazon logo, but maybe that's what it is, right? Is that's how they do it. They're selling us these companies, quote unquote companies, that are doing the same thing. That, because if you think about it, we were furious when we found out the government was spying on us. We were furious when we found out, oh, they're collecting our this, or they're collecting our that. No one's knocking down Amazon's door for keeping all your shit. No one's knocking down Amazon's door because Alexa's recording every fucking thing you say in your house. No one cares. No one cares. Because it's convenient. It's a service. It's awesome. Amazon loves us. They care about us, and we're going to continue to support, right? But who's to say all of that is not going right to central big government underground? I don't know. Whatever.
No, for sure. Because they own, like you said, with AWS, like they own
everywhere.
They own it. Like they own the facilities that house your data. So what does that mean? That they own your data too, basically.
Everything. You know what I mean? You get on your computer, you log into your bank account, they got all of that too.
It's all accessible. It's all accessible.
And it can be accessed at any time, whenever they want, however they want. There's back doors for everything. Like I don't know, man. I think you might be onto something.
It's the whole thing, man. It's like, it's just all. So it is at the end of the day. Like we criticize China so badass about like, oh, the state, like, they spy on people when they do this, like they have total control. Well, but they do here too. It's just in a different form. It's a different, it's presented to the public in a different way, where it's like you're living in this illusion, but it's still, at the end of the day, they could pull the plug on the whole shit.
It's because we're not educated, man. I mean, at the end of the day, as Americans, we're not educated on what really goes on, and we're kept in the dark about what really goes on. It's the same thing with money. Like we talk about money, the value of our dollar is not fucking determined by the government. It's determined by the banks. And a lot of people don't realize that. A lot of people don't understand that a bank, which anybody can start, tells us what our money is worth. A lot of people think that the government says this is what this is worth, or this is that, whatever, but I don't know. I just think it comes down to us being poorly educated.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, it is, man. Well, because obviously there's none of this is taught in schools, right? And none of this is taught, I don't know, man. Like there's just no entity that, there's not like any sort of, I guess going back to our early conversation about the fact that there aren't these like cultural roots in America that are very deep, right? Like it's all, everybody's kind of from somewhere else. And then it's all like pretty much the whole thing took off, industrial revolution. Like, so everything, the whole culture is built on that. So there aren't like these things that like permeate, that sort of transcend, what am I trying to say? Like these like real values, I guess, that get carried through. Everything is more adjusted or like acquiesced to this idea that everybody has to make money as long as it's convenient. Like the nuclear family works, right? But it works because you've got to purchase a house, and then you know what I'm saying, you're in debt and like all this shit. Like there's no other way to do it. Like that's the way you do it, and that's very heavily beat into the heads of people. And there's an interesting point I heard somebody bring up on this fucking video where it was like, so everything, you know, and not to get into the whole like women's rights or whatever, but just like as fact, right? So before like World War II, it was pretty much this typical, the male provided the income, the female's role in the society, generally speaking, was to run the household. And fuck, there's nothing wrong with that. Like that was what the kind of permeating gender roles were at the time. Well, then all of a sudden, like, this is a different angle that I had heard somebody bring it up before. Well, all of a sudden there's this push to, you create this two income, like, oh yeah, the women should be out there and work, blah, 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 go out and then the workforce, because that's more valuable. That's more valuable than your role as a homemaker. Right. The first, like the, so in other words, like, you should, there's no like direct message saying like, oh, you should be ashamed to be a homemaker, but there's this reward thing where it's like, oh, a woman who's out there getting it, man, that's a powerful woman. That's what you should be aspiring to be. So what does that end up creating? Well, we're in a system now where you have to have two incomes basically for the average person to fucking survive. And then what does that mean? Yeah. Well, that means where are you going to put your kids while you're both fucking working? Oh, you're going to put them in daycare, and then you're going to give more fucking money.
Give more money.
And then you're more money. And then you know what else too? The two incomes provides, that's two now, double the percentage, whatever that household was contributing to the US government. Now two of them are contributing that shit.
Yeah.
And it's like, fuck, dude.
it's a trap. It's a trap.
Oh, that's how you hijack shit.
And at the end of the day, we're all fighting for shit that has no value.
We are. Yeah, no fucking value. Not to the guy with the machete who's ready to fucking slice you up.
Exactly.
Fuck up. You can make it rain all you want of that cash. You don't care. But we're about to hit a little break here, and I think we'll continue on the other side. We'll touch base on, it's kind of on the same lines as where we're talking about here. I love this, man. This is a great episode. But I am going to first, before we hit the break, I do want to give a couple shout outs to some fellow podcasters in the community. Independent Thought, Desmond out there in Montana. Love this dude's show. If you haven't already, please subscribe to that. Dude does a lot of good work by bringing up stories that just kind of lie below the surface of sort of the mainstream narrative, and does a great job at presenting these topics that are tough to talk about, but hard-hitting shit that like you need to know, man. There's a whole reality. There's the Dog and Pony Show going on in the media. You know, even as down to independent media such as us, like we're part of that shit too. We might have maybe a little more integrity, but we're still part of that whole pony show. But nonetheless, there's a reality that's going on outside of that, believe it or not, that's not getting broadcast on TV. And so it's good that people are out there trying to find those stories and bring them to the public. So also too, I want to give a shout out to my boy, Daniel Segura from Mustachioed Podcastio. That fucking show, it's the concept of his fucking podcast.
It's great.
Is they do it is it literally is like the only thing like it of its kind, and it's hilarious. It does movie reviews. Sometimes it's by himself, sometimes he's got guests. Most of the time he's got guests, but they'll review movies which feature an actor, sometimes a star, sometimes a co-star with a glorious mustache. So definitely check out, and he's also a fellow Texan from San Antonio. So definitely subscribe to that. But we will lead you into the break here with a tune from my boy Jeremy Masters, who you might remember from episode 37 of the Skip the Noise podcast. He's got a couple rhythms I'm going to feature on the show this evening. So check that out, and we will see you on the other side. Take a quick break. And we are back. It is party in the back time. We never let you down. Despite, who's here at Skip the Noise podcast, we're just going to get into some serious shit. We're kind of more of an extension of what we were talking about in the first half there. So really, it's still going to be all over the place and out there. But that's what it is, man.
Yes, sir.
So I wanted to bring up something. So Shepard and I had been communicating previously before we even knew he was going to come on. And thank you, by the way. He kind of saved the day. I didn't really describe that earlier, but just scheduling clusterfuck between the Ben, Rick, and myself just couldn't get the day lined up. So it was like, fuck, man, got to get something out. And literally like this afternoon, I was like, fuck it. I was like, I bet Shepard might be down. So I texted him like, dude, is there any way like you can jump on and we'll do a show, blah, blah, blah. And it came through within, when I say short notice, like a couple hours. So fucking thanks again, dude. This is awesome. The fact that
no worries, man.
Because dude, there's people, I mean, it's not a lot. I'm not talking big numbers here, but the people that do subscribe to Skip the Noise podcast need their fucking Skip the Noise, like some crack, dude. And I'm not even playing.
No, I know they do, man. I know they do. And that's why I wanted to do it, man. That's why I wanted to do it.
So hell yeah. So recently there was a Rogan. So what I was getting at was Shepard and I had been texting about this earlier in the week. There was a Rogan episode. Had it just come out, the Adam Curry, or was it from a previous?
Whenever I sent it just come out.
Okay. So Adam Curry, who you may know way back, he was like the first, I think, MTV VJ.
Yeah.
And then he actually is kind of referred to as the godfather of podcasts. So
for real.
Yeah, definitely. Like, so dude is, he carries a little weight in this community for sure. Like a little, he's the man. Anyway, he had brought something up on that show so the definition of these, so ESGs, right? What's known as the environmental, social, and corporate governance. So basically there's this calculation that corporations do based on, well, let's see here. I'm going to try to get it as good a definition as I can. So they measure these things, right, that hit these like cultural notes, right? And to simplify it, right, it's kind of hitting the woke nail. Yeah, hitting the woke button, being like, we're sustain. Yeah, we recycle shit. We're accepting of people of all different, creeds, colors, and backgrounds, and know what I'm saying, genders, and like so. In other words, to get investors, there's this pressure sort of, or this drive to check all these boxes because it'll actually affect your fucking stock price.
For sure. And you hit, I mean, that's basically what it is, right? And for the dumb fucks out there like me, right? When Nike says Black Lives Matter, they don't give a shit. It just means more money for them when they say that. It's basically what it boils down to, right?
Right.
There's woke things out there that you can do, and it's measured, and how money is allocated, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's how money is allocated to these companies is basically based off of how woke they are, quote unquote, right? And if you're super woke, you're going to get more money. If you're not so woke, you're not gonna get as much money. But not just being woke, it's also a whole nother level of to who can create the biggest buzz, right?
Yes.
Even if it's something that's not positive, if it's going to create a large buzz, you're going to get a higher allocation of funds, more or less. You know? That's fucking ridiculous.
It is, dude. It is, dude. And like, we're already fucking bummed out about how deceitful and then just to add this other layer on top where it's like now the already deceitful, leech like entities that are like these massive corporations, now they're playing with your fucking head to reach the most emotional, on the gut emotional level. They're going to hit these notes so you sing their praises even more, but it's not even fucking to gain your, like, it's weird, right? Like, it's not even done of the simple fucked up way, which would be deceit. The intent would be to like sort of win you over. Like it is that, but there's actually like metrics involved that they're like trying to.
Disgusting, man. It's fucking disgusting, bro. They're purposely trying to piss you off so they can make more money, you know?
Yeah.
And it's funny because, you know, when I was thinking about that and I saw that, at first it blew my mind. I mean, first of all, I don't know why it blew my mind, because we all should know,
right?
This whole thing is a fucking game. The whole thing is a game, you know, and it's all about, like we said before, who can get the most out of a person, right? You know, we're all fighting for people's attentions, for people's dollars, and we should have known. But it's funny because it kind of reminds me of social media in a way, you know, and I've spoken about it in other episodes, you know, where you have these people that are, they make a post, and the post really has the only purpose of that post is to get you to interact with it. That's it. They don't give a shit. They're trying to trigger you or pretend to be woke so that you can push that button and give them more likes, more attention, which generates what? More money, right? It generates more money for them. And that's what it all boils down to. And it's kind of sad, you know, it's kind of sad when you really think about it. You know, it's just another form of control, you know, and we're voluntarily giving them that, you know, everything we are is control. It's all about control.
Oh shit, man. Like, the more you dig into it, the more kind of what's the word? Like overwhelming is, I guess, what I was looking for is how it gets. But I guess what's even more fucking disgusting is like, so I mean, if you're somewhat of someone who reasonable intelligence, and maybe too, this is a result of being a little bit older and kind of seeing the world before this, right? So we're kind of that generation, right, where we've equally spent time on both sides of this fence, which is that, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like
we're more fucked up than everybody. We remember the good old days, and
that's true. We remember the good old days, and we know how fucked up it is. Weird. Like, I literally think like people our age are in this weird like sweet spot where we relate to both sides, not like equals, not the word, but maybe like equitably. Like there's this much invested emotionally in both fucking worlds. And you can see that too in like the exploitation of like nostalgia culture, dude.
Oh, but
are you kidding me?
Another way to make money.
It's like, we know you're bro. We know you're fucked up, and you're just latching on at the very dental floss like string of your youth, because not only was it like your youth and it was happy and it was fun, but it was a different world.
100%.
And it's fucked up, dude. Like, so in my job, and I'm imagining yours too. Well, we intersected paths. I'll give you a little inside baseball on the Shepard and I. For a brief period of time, our paths crossed, and so we can relate on that level to what I'm talking about. So there was a lot of young people, right, in this industry, and so you see firsthand like these little differences, dude, in just, and not to get too fucking hyperbolic about it, but sometimes it's like it's a whole nother species, dude. Like with the way the thought process works, just because certain things were introduced at a younger age and became more of a like an all-encompassing to their reality, as opposed to where we're living in that world, but we've come from this other fucking world.
Oh, you know, no, it's crazy. It's crazy.
And we're not, and it's like, so, but like our parents' generation, they're riding sort of the edge of that, and they're coping, and I'm sure it's fucked up for them too, but it's almost like they had enough water under the bridge with the other one that it's not quite as interlocked into their psyche as it is for us, where it's like fucking almost half and half.
They don't really buy in, because you think about our parents or the ones that were before. I mean, trying to get them on a smartphone Ain't gonna happen. They're just not gonna buy into it, right? But now that you say this, it makes me think, man. It makes me think, because we had talked about earlier on the front half of this, we talked about, control and the way that things have gone and people developing things. And it's funny because we always say, like, these young kids, the generation of these young kids, like, they're different. They're different people. They're different, whatever. They don't have work ethic or whatever it is. And when I sit back and I think about it, honestly, I don't think it's their fault. I think we made them that way. And I think that it is. We talk about control and we talk about, like, how, Amazon, there's a deeper root to it, right? But if you think about all of these situations that are going on, right? You think about, for us, we are on that fine line. Realistically, when we were kids, we were around before mass internet. Before internet was a thing, right? We were there before that. We were there with dial-up phones. We were there. And when our brains were forming and we were developing, we were whatever, it was a different mentality, right? Back then, if you wanted to talk to someone on the phone, you pick up the fucking phone, you call them, you call their house. If they weren't there, well, shit, you just called back, right? And then technology came out, and technology made it to where it was instant. And if you notice, there was a change in people, right? Because before, like we said, if I wanted to call Benji, I'd pick up the phone. I say, hey, is Benji there? Oh, no, he's out doing whatever. All right, cool, whatever. I'll try back later. Now I hit you on the phone. Hey, Benji, text. What's going on, man? And if I don't hear back from you in 2 minutes, what the fuck's going on, bro?
Yeah,
before, I'd wait 8 hours. I'd wait 16 hours. I wouldn't hear from you. Now, same thing with. But think about it. It changes. It changes relationships. Think about, like, your girlfriend or your boyfriend or whatever it is. Before, you'd call their house. If they weren't there, it didn't matter. Now you shoot them a text. They don't answer back in 5 minutes. Are they dead? Who are they out fucking? Who are they?
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, for sure. And even worse if it's on red.
Dude,
like they saw the shit.
Oh,
why didn't they
saw the shit? Yeah. But and then the same thing, the internet comes out and it makes everything instantaneous. Before, if you wanted information, walk your fucking ass to the library, get the fucking, what was that shit called? The long where you looked up at the Rolodex of fucking bullshit.
Oh,
go find your fucking
card catalog.
Yeah, the card catalog. Yeah. Go Dewey find Decimal. Your book, right? And now it's on the phone. And then the phone becomes faster and faster and faster, and attention spans become shorter and shorter and shorter. Like, I feel we made these kids fucking idiots. We made it. Amazon comes, you can get everything instantaneously. There's no waiting. There's no anything, So how can we expect this new generation to be a go-getters or whatever when literally everything is on a silver platter for them? They can't expect it to be any different.
It is, and like
majority of them.
Fuck yeah! Like, so what's weird about that too is, like, because of the direction it's going though. So I'm at a weird spot, right? So I have 4 children and shit, and I'm always kind of walking that balance, because it's like, on the one hand, to survive in the new, the world that we've created for ourselves, you do have to be savvy as fucking. God forbid you get behind on that shit and then you're catching up just so you can survive, because the way that you provide bread for your family is going to be a little bit different in 2040, right?
Right.
When they're middle-aged or whatever. My oldest too, roughly whatever. So if math is, I'm not even thinking math right now, Shepard, man. We're on this science.
We're
on science right now. We ain't talking math. What the fuck is all that? Numbers.
I mean, I'm black. I suck at math anyway. So
for sure, man. I know my kids are half Asian, so I don't think that affects me at all. But yeah, exactly. So they're smarter. They're obviously smarter than me. But anyway, so they so I'm always because, like, not only am I old school, like, just from being our age, my dad grew up on a fucking farm, like, without with no electricity, like in rural Nebraska with they carried buckets of water. He fucking took his shit, wiped his ass with a fucking corn cob, dude. Like, that, no toilet, like, no plumbing.
Right.
Okay, they had fucking oil lamps, like it was the fucking 1800s. Yeah, bro. So obviously my ass was peppered with comments, and I was very well aware of how I was not suffering. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
motherfucker, like there's lights, like you have, you know, like I wasn't allowed to bitch. And that's fuck, honestly, dude, that came through like till now. Like I have this weird thing where it's like I was so like bitching or complaining about anything was so fucking forbidden, or just you would get shamed. That carried with, dude, that's like if anything, right, if we do hold on to these little things in culture, like by God, man, if you have kids or whatever, like if you do have these little, and I'm not saying like my dad's got his issues, right, like that's a whole nother deal, but right. Like you can value judge all you want, and a lot of people do, man, they got opinions of him and some shit, but like the one thing is like if that genetics gets passed down to the next generation, if you can even hold on to one concept like that, where it's like, stop being a fucking bitch, shut your fucking ass up. I was up at 4 a.m. when I was fucking 7 years old. You know what I mean? So fuck you. Like, just shut the fuck up. Yeah.
In the snow.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's the thing. Like, that's why that's a meme, right? Like, because that's a real thing, right? There's and that was very highlighted in my upbringing. So I was very well aware of like, fucking shit can get way worse, right? And that permeates through everything I think. So I make sure that like, that's something that I instill very probably aggressively in my kids, is like,
right,
do whatever. Like the one thing where I'll flip my shit is if they start whining and squealing about bullshit, you know, and you know, negative things get passed down too, right? Just like any family, you know, I know you
fucked up now.
Shit, yeah, dude. I mean, we're all fucked up in like in different ways. It's all just kind of thing. But basically what I'm saying is like, there's little concepts, right, you can pass down. So in especially with the way the world's getting, it's like some part of me is accepting the fact that like, shit, man, they do need to be on screens like more than I probably think they should, right? Because that's part of the survival now. Like banking's online, everything's online. You're just gonna have to be on your fucking phone. And but it's like I see that shit and I get like
aggravated,
bro. Like I
think you're aggravated because I think you see the truth. And you said something when you were talking, right? So like you say, you know, when in 2040 we're gonna have to go about it a different way, right? Or whatever.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I think about this, and I want everybody to fucking think about this. Do we really, or is that what we're being told we need to do, right? Because, and what I mean by that is, like you said, your dad grew up on a farm, whatever. Like there's a certain quality of life that we're accustomed to that's nice to have, but kind of like the gun laws we touched on earlier, no one fucking asked for this. No one asked for iPhone fucking 12. No one asked for, you know what? And the thing about it is, if we were to stop, right? If you were to take your fucking kids, and for whatever reason, let's just say you came up in a bunch of money, because right, everything revolves around money. But if you were to take your fucking kids and go buy yourself a fucking private island in the middle of fucking nowhere where the weather's nice, build yourself a goddamn coconut tree house, right?
Hell yeah.
You could live until 2040 without having to be on fucking screens.
Yeah,
right?
You could.
Life is still going to go on. The earth is still going to rotate. But that's the thing, is everybody's so, well, we have to have screens. We have to do this. We have to, but do you really?
Yeah.
Do you fucking really? Or are we doing it because that's what we're told we have to do? You know? And I think that we're being told that. Because that's what it's shifting the system. It's changing the way we do things so that someone can come, oh, well, you got to do all your banking online. Like, why the fuck do I have to? But that wasn't a thing before. We traded services. We traded fucking pelts for fucking butter or fucking, like, why the fuck do I have to go online to do my fucking banking? Like, we're being led like sheep to get to this place, bro. like it's not necessary. It's really honestly not, but we're all buying into it because we think that this is the way of the future. Like, who gives a shit about a fucking screen? Like, it doesn't really change my life. It makes it easier.
No.
Yeah. It makes it so I don't have to go and you know, comb the cornfields or fucking whatever, right? But
Right, dude.
we also lose touch with a whole nother set of fucking work ethics and a whole nother viewpoint of life. You know, the world doesn't stop by us being I mean, it's not going to stop if we shift everything to being digital. And I think that it's more part of the system, unfortunately, than it is us really needing it, right? We don't really need it.
Oh, without it, 100%. Like, we don't. No, you're absolutely right. We don't. And, you know, I guess my thoughts on that weren't even so much to point out like, oh, that we need it. It was just like, but to that, that's where the direction of the perception of what you're supposed to be is going to be, right? So
who sets that?
Yeah, no. And so, so you're caught in this decision. You know, there's a joke, kind of ongoing joke on the podcast that like, I'm at some point going to start a fucking cult and like do whatever. But like that,
and I'm down, bro.
It's yeah, I know, right? I'm looking your way, bro. Don't trust me. We'll get that text before that we chuck our phones in the fucking river. Just to make sure we link up real quick and take advantage of Babylon real quick, so we can make the communications, and then we'll skate.
Fucking
yeah,
out.
then we'll bounce. Yeah, out in fucking like Hockley or some shit, dude. Like, fuck yeah, with like a couple acres and a bunch of shotguns and shit.
That's all you need, man.
Yeah, it's like I'm saying shit and I'm laughing, but like, there's a fucking I'm here to tell you, Shepard, like there's a real part of me. So back when I was doing music, like back in the day, kind of when you're, you know, that was the vibe, dude. You know, we'd smoke and we'd drink and we'd do shows and like we were getting money for it.
Right.
And I was working too. I was having to work to like support myself and do things. And there was still this like a little illusion of like, there was this conflict of like, man, there's this walk that I'm doing. There's this dance where it's like, what I really want to do is like this. And I don't really give a shit if if I suffer because of it and I'm poor. Well, at the end of the day, man, I'm here to tell you, like, I can admit when I'm wrong. Fuck that. It's hard to say. I'm not saying I admit when I'm wrong, but I gave up on that spirit to go for what I thought was, which is not wrong, because the path that I took ended up producing fucking 4 children that I love. And, you know, who knows, who's to say if I wouldn't have got to that place. So it's not a judgment on that, but what I'm trying to highlight is there was this real fucking at the time, man, my early 20s, where, you know, shit was a little bit crazy and chaotic on the home front side, and there wasn't a lot of stability, and I was just kind of in this fucking world of, you know, whatever the fuck. And I really thought that, like, man, society's fucked up. You know, I started to read and think for myself, and dude, I was reading books. Like, I read this one book in one sitting, dude, like a fucking 200-page book. Like, what the fuck? Like, who does that? And I just always thought that was weird. I only did that one time, but so I had these real ideas of like, fuck society. There was a real possibility, man. I could have went, like, you know, you're on the roundabout, like on the road, and there's like 3 or 4 options where you can like drive away. There was like a minute, dude, like where like it could have went that direction, where, like, you know, I was in fucking Oregon camping for a fucking living with, you know, and I blew glass for a living and sold fucking crazy, you know what I mean? Like, there was a real possibility for that direction to happen. And there's still part of me that, like, maybe I don't believe in it in that same regard, but I do value the same things that produce like that thought process. And what I mean by that is, at the end of the day, like, I've always been influenced by, you know, not that I'm one myself, but I've been influenced by, you know, Rasta culture and the idea that, like, it's you and the earth, you're part of God, you're God's creation, all this other bullshit that permeates it's all constructed and it's all bullshit. And that's, you know, refer to fucking Babylon getting in your head and fucking destroying shit, you know? And there's this real battle within our souls to like, where do you draw the line? Like, where do you say, where do you make those decisions when your boss texts you, at 7 a.m. and says, I need you here because blah, 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 blah. You weigh that, you weigh those options and like, what's going to be the consequences of that? Or, this human being that I created out of my own being needs me to be here. How many times do you make the decision to be like, well, fuck, I don't want to.
That's the thing, man. It's because we're part of the system, and what you're saying, I think, shines true to a lot of people. And the problem is the decision is not hard, right? If you really think about it, the decision is not hard. Like if you had, and again, I hate it, and it always goes back to fucking money, right?
Right.
If you had, I don't know, say $1 million in the fucking bank, whatever it is, I don't know, $1 billion in the bank, doesn't fucking matter. If you knew all your bills were fucking paid, right? And you get that text from your boss saying, I need you to come in, versus your kid, which one are you going to fucking pick? You know what I'm saying? Fuck you. I'm not going in. You're going to pick the kid all day long. But that's the thing, is because that's natural, right? Taking care of your kid is a natural thing. Being part of a system is not natural. We have to do it because of all the bull we bought into it. You got to go to school and you got to pay for the degree and you got to buy the house and you got to do this. You got to get you in debt. It's designed to get you in debt. And it's coming out more and more that it was designed to keep you in debt so that we can keep this ball rolling. But that's not the natural course of life, man. What you're talking about, and people make fun of these people. Oh yeah, you're gonna go have a cold, or you're gonna go be in a commune, or you're gonna go be in a whatever. I mean, some of them, they can get a little crazy, but at the end of the day,
for sure, we're not completely co-signing.
We're not completely co-signing, not at all. That's what someone in a cult would say, right? But at the end of the day, they provide what life is really about, man. It's about experiences, having fun, exchanging services. I know how to do this and you know how to do that. Let's collaborate, right? And that's what it is. And if everybody had money, bro, no one would be working. No one would be working.
No,
so
do that shit.
It's all part of the system, man. And I don't think that you're too far off. And it's just frustrating because a lot of us get stuck in that cycle where we work, and I always challenge people, and I say, okay, yeah, you're working, but then what?
Then what? What's that for?
There's no, well, I'm going to work until I'm 65. Okay, that's your goal. You have no goal in life. You're just going to work until you're 65, and then what? I'm going to retire. Okay, and then what? I don't know. We're losing what life is about.
Exactly. I'll answer that question. You know what's going to happen? 2 months after you retire at 65, you're going to die.
You're fucking die.
Because your soul ain't got nothing to do no more.
No.
You're done.
Dude,
you know what I mean?
Or you go back to fucking, it's like being in jail when people are institutionalized,
they can't do it.
When they get out now, I got to go back to jail. It's the same fucking thing. If you get out, you're either going to die or you're going to be like, I'm fucking bored. I'm going to go back to work. Okay. So now you wasted how many years of your fucking life? How many?
Y'all were talking about that shit too on the show. It's funny how we've touched on like several things, man. Fuck, that's crazy. But like the prison,
skip the noise. Yeah, weird.
Dude, we're creating. It is, dude. Like we get into these we're just creating a whole fucking masterpiece right now, straight up. But like, so the prison example is that was great, dude. Because I've known that concept's been in my head for forever, but I've never really sort of framed it in that way in my mind until you just brought that up. It's just like, even though that's so a prisoner, right, at the end of the day is like the lowest in our society, right? Like a prison inmate. You've been stripped of all your rights, motherfucker. You live in a cage with all these other animals. They're going to try to fucking rape you, extort you, all the shit. Like that's the bottom.
Right.
In an American society, that's the bottom. Pretty much in every society, really. But so bottom as far as like whatever, perception. Okay.
Right.
As far as your value or your level, your rights to vote and shit are taken away, all that shit. Like once you've decided to fucking club somebody over the head until they fucking deceased, that's it. Okay. That's whatever. That's the rules of society. That's your punishment. But yeah. But what I'm getting at is that example of like them living in that system where it's like this sort of artificial reality then they come back to what we think of as like the real world, air quotes,
right,
which still isn't the real world. You know, there's, to be honest with you, there's a lot of shit that goes on in prison that is actually probably more similar to the real world, right?
Yeah.
Than because they've had some of that shit stripped away. So it's an interesting sort of balance. But yeah, just like somebody who has relied on all these things, and then is reintroduced into an environment that they don't understand and can't comprehend. Fuck, dude, it's like it's depressing. And so I think there's a battle that has to go on like every day with yourself, to where it's like, yes, okay, I have to accept, like, to pay my mortgage, to do all these things, I have to acquiesce to a certain level to this. But you have to know where your line is. You know, you have to know in your head what you're not going to budge for. And if you just keep, then fuck, are you really even a human at that point? Or are you the computer program that they want you to be? Like, if you're not sometimes pissing people off by not quite giving into exactly what they want you to do, man, you know, and that seems, and speaking of that shit, we had talked about something in the break, dude, I wanted to bring up, and this is not a super hard transition, because we've been introducing some of these topics, but so this actually came up, and I explained to Shepard in the break. I got asked a question by Desmond from Independent Thought, and we were doing a little interview, so to speak. So make sure you subscribe to him and get the latest updates. So whenever that comes out, you'll be ready for that. But he had asked me, you know, how I got into being interested in politics, and because obviously I host a political show, and you know, I'd explained to him that, like, well, I'm very interested in sociology and sort of how that affects things, and obviously politics is an extension of that. Whereas, like, you know, Ben and Rick are more strictly politically based in their thought process, and that's kind of what the engine that drives the show. And then I kind of fill in the space in between and kind of make it palatable or what have you, or at least that's our roles, right? If we're a basketball team, somebody's the point guard, somebody's the forward, somebody's a center, or whatever. So that being said, when he actually asked that question, the first thing that came to my head was fucking Public Enemy. I was like, what got you into what you guys thinking in that mindset or whatever? Public Enemy, Chuck D. And not even specifically them, but just that specific, that era of music, right? Because there was a time period where they didn't know what to do with it. It was just coming out. It was selling. So it's like, okay, there was no sort of direction for it. But if you notice, right, if you take a snapshot of, let's say, 88 to like 90, where all these groups are here, saying real fucked up shit. Not fucked up. What I mean is like jarring shit. Okay.
Right.
Fucked up in the eyes of like your just average Susie homemaker, middle age in the suburbs. You know what I mean? Here's some shit that like Ice Cube wants to say, circa 1990. It's going to be like, what in the fuck? It's going to make some, you know, maybe even like get teary-eyed and like shook.
Right. Yeah.
Compared to now, where so hip hop still exists in this, like, I feel like it still occupies this space in society where it's still a place for perceived rebellion, right? Because it's street culture. Okay. But what we're talking about earlier, how do the corporations, how do they find their influence, and where does, you know, we can get into where the government fits into all this too. So my point is, this is a long way, but that's what I do, dude. I over explain shit. That's why you listen to Skip the Noise podcast. If you take a rapper now, right, or whoever is like the most popular, you know, these dudes have their nails painted. You know, maybe they do a lot of drugs and they party, but they're, at the end of the day, man, like, they're non-threatening, right? Like, they're not, you know, they're not 1989 Ice Cube, or they're not 1988 Chuck D, where it's like, this guy's a fucking problem, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this guy doesn't give a fuck about your rules or how you've, this dude is fucking crazy. Like he's looking shit up and he's got information and he doesn't give a fuck and he's scary. These guys are not fucking scary. Like there was a point in time where like young people don't understand, man. And if you're a young listener, Skip the Noise, I very highly encourage you to dive into the history of hip hop, because I think it's very important when you talk about where we're at today in like American culture. There was a certain turning point where society had to accept African Americans in a certain way because of the money it generated. You watch that transition, dude, and how they got involved and how they influenced that narrative. It's fucked up. And now, like I said, you got dudes with like lipstick, like, dude, I don't even know their names, bro, because I don't really like, I'm old, right? So I listen to like my shit.
You and me both, man. But you hit the nail on the head. If this was fucking Pee-wee's Playhouse, every time money is a fucking word of the day, bro, right?
Yeah,
it's money. But that's the thing. I don't know if a lot of these young kids probably don't know who Pee-wee is. Anyway, but
I know, right? We're dating ourselves about, like right? By the second.
I know, right? Jesus Christ. But the thing is music, especially back then. I mean, even before that, right? Music was about self-expression. It was about, putting out how do you feel? It didn't matter if it was hip hop or blues or whatever it was. You were expressing how you felt. You were putting your feelings out there. The words had fucking meaning, man. It had meaning. And what you said was absolutely right. Money became involved and it became a gradual shift. Like you go from having meaning, mute songs that stood up for rights, songs that expressed injustice to whatever, and now it's all about selling. It's all about selling. What can we sell? The songs went from fight the power, right, to I got the new Maybach on Dubs, Bro, it's changed so dramatically, it went from fuck the police to I shut shit down in the mall.
Right, yeah,
and that whatever, and all they do now is sell. No one's making fucking, back then you wrote and you spoke from the heart. Now you speak to whatever you think people want to hear, and it is what it is. And you're right, they shut down everything that was powerful. They shut down all the problems and they just said, this will work, right? Let's put this person out there. Yeah. This guy's got it, right? The most non-threatening piece of shit. You're fucking fine. And it's sad. They neutered the music, man.
They did, man. And it's not even this isn't even like 100% as a musician. I'm not putting down the actual artists themselves. I really am not. It sounds like I am. It sounds like I'm critiquing the music.
Well, I'm putting them down.
Oh, gosh. Well, the only reason I say it, and I'm not trying to like puss out of it. All I'm saying is like, at the end of the day, like you can create whatever you create. Like I'm not gonna like it's not their fault that they're taking the fucking money. That's that's my only point. Like
for sure.
But what I'm saying is look at who gets featured on who's dating one of the Kardashians, or who gets featured on the fucking whatever news publication, who gets in all these social media platforms, who are they talking about on this? That's, what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
And I'm sure there's people, I mean, music, like at this point, anybody who has access to fucking recording equipment can put shit out. So like it's getting there. What I'm talking about is like,
but the successful ones, man.
Yeah. What gets shoved in your face? Because it's algorithms, right? They're
sure.
Whether it's just based on an app and it's like a true algorithm where it like runs itself, or it's like the hive mind algorithm that throws the shit in your face to sort of present to you. Let's redirect you. You know what I mean? From somebody who's like saying some shit who might be dangerous, and the way they carry themselves, not just like, I mean, honestly, bro, like there's not one, and this all kind of came up from somebody at work who had a conversation. It was a young dude who was curious about, because he knew, my age range. He was asking about like what it was like when NWA came out. Cause all he knew, you can hear the music and you can do whatever, but the cultural context isn't there, right? You can see documentaries and kind of get an impression, just like for us looking at like Woodstock, right? Like I might ask some older dude like, yo, what was it like? That shit, that's crazy.
Sex, drugs,
it's kind of similar. Fuck yeah, man. And it's cool. I like those moments when like young people are curious about shit that I experienced in it, because it is a cool opportunity to kind of frame that and be like, yeah, man, it was actually kind of unprecedented, dude. Because like you didn't see, it wasn't like fucking Eazy-E or Ice Cube was doing interviews with Barbara Walter. You know what I mean? It wasn't like it's not the same thing. It's not like, Travis Scott being on, the front page of whatever online publication. Okay.
Right.
It was like this thing that like it grew out of people being interested in it, and it came through certain outlets. But I don't know, like, I guess the overall point I'm saying is, you see how, whether it's TV news or however the media evolves, it's very purposeful how they're like what they're shoving in your face,
Yeah, no, and they're all carbon copies of each other, man. What's popular, the next popular ones is very similar to the one that just went out the door, and they're just kind of keeping it going. It is all the algorithms and what makes the most money and whatever. It's funny though, you're talking about that. I was thinking, I had a conversation, I don't remember who I was talking to, but when it comes to algorithms and things like that and generating revenue and so on and so forth, like even in regards to money, man, and I guess maybe because we can't get enough people to get on the same page, but like, what do you think would happen if we just stopped, or we just, right? You say you can vote with your dollars, right? You think about everything that's going on. Let's talk about mortgage, just hypothetically, right? What do you think would happen if we all just stopped paying that shit? We're just like, you know what? We're not going to pay it.
Just did math. Just like, nope.
Yeah.
You're going to have to.
What are they going to do? What are they going to do? You know what I'm saying? If everybody collective was just like, no, what would happen? No, right? Would the world collapse, or would they pivot and try to find a different way? Would they be, you know what? Not everybody can live for free, but you have to pay for this. Like, it's, I don't know. We can swing things in so many ways, and change that algorithm, but I think no one's really stepping up to make that change. And I'm not saying that that's the way to do it, but, even with like social media, right? You think about how many followers do you have, for Skip the Noise, or I have, or whoever has for whatever, right? You're on social media, you're doing your thing, double clicking to put that heart, or just checking the heart, right? That can change a person's life, right? Following and clicking that heart. If Skip the Noise all of a sudden jumped up to 4 million followers and 50% of them hit the heart on everything that you posted, that would change your life dramatically, because you're going to garner interest from a bunch of other people, right? And you're going to start making income, because now you're an influencer, you have that reach, you know what I'm saying? But we can't get people to do that, right? It's so hard, but that doesn't cost anybody anything. It's fucking free to push a heart. It's fucking free to follow, but nobody will do it. Nobody will do it. You could change the whole course of someone's life, multiple thousands of people's lives, but we neglect to do it. Why?
Yeah, fuck. There's no reason not to.
There's no reason not to, right? And why are we continuing to play into the foolishness? We can change that. You think about the 500 people that you have that are following you, whatever, 500, 600, however many it is that's following you right now, versus the number of likes that you get. They're fucking up your interaction, right?
Yeah.
And then those people are following probably 5,000 people, right? But they're giving all of their likes to some douchebag or fucking Dwayne Johnson with his 23 million fucking followers. Like, dude doesn't fucking need any more money. Like, you guys want to talk about making change in the world, supporting business? It's fucking free. It takes just done, and people won't fucking do it. I don't get it.
That's true, man. And that is like, you could talk all day about, beating the streets and like getting out to vote or whatever, but no shit, dude, you really could make a difference if you got a collective group of people to decide, no, I think this motherfucker that's he's saying some real shit.
Yeah.
Let's follow and like the fuck out of him.
Yeah.
And to a degree, like it happens, you see, I can't think of an example off the top of the dome, but like, there are people that kind of come from this realm that we sort of occupy and break through. But yeah, that's a good way to look at that, man. Is like, that is an avenue for speaking your voice, is allowing somebody who is saying the shit to pop through.
To have a platform, man. To have a platform.
Yes. So be conscious about who you subscribe and like to. Don't just go arbitrary, and don't just like every time Dwayne Johnson shows you a fucking, most muscular pose in the mirror of his home gym.
Right.
That he, you know what I mean?
100% natural, by the way.
Yeah, for sure. He's not on any roids. Like, matter of fact, he's a vegetarian, isn't he? Right. So,
vegan, right?
Yeah, he's a vegan. Yeah, he's a vegan. I'm sure. Fucking whatever. I don't. Not he never said that, but I'm just saying, like, that's the bullshit you hear. Yeah. So yeah, every time he's flexing and he's like, "Oh man, look how good of a dad I am," where he's like, got his shirt off and he's showing you how. How
he's
fucking
he's playing in the fucking algorithms, man. He's playing in the algorithms. He knows what he's fucking doing. But we have the power, man. We have the fucking power. You think about all the people that you follow, even on your platform right now on your Instagram. Think about how many people you follow and how many of those people they follow and how many people that is collectively that could legitimately shift some shit. But everybody's so focused on them that we're not collectively working together, man. We're becoming part of that system,
Yeah, no, it is true, man. And I've noticed, we've talked like throughout this whole show so far, we've talked a lot about that. And let me tell you too, it was kind of a culture shock for me to shift into this mode where I had to, because of my desire of what I believed in is what we're doing, or I believe in the show, right? So I want to get that out to as many people as I possibly can. So the necessary evil,
right,
obviously, is to get on social media, which, I was on social media. Don't get me wrong. I wasn't completely absent from it in my life, but wasn't big into it. I was the dude who like probably had a post from like 2017 and shit, and
one lonely post,
whatever. Yeah. I'll log in every couple of days and see what's going on, or just to make sure everybody's still alive or whatever. And, but that was about the extent of it. And then that shifted to where I actually had to actively promote the show and try to decide like what was working better and it's kind of exhausting, man. It's not a natural thing. It's not, existentially something I enjoy doing because of the way my mind works and my thought process. Like I feel weird about it. I don't like doing it. I don't like, making videos, but if I could just get away with just promoting the show every couple, but unfortunately, like I have to drive a little bit more engagement. So I try to, make some relatable posts, right? I try to do some funny shit. I try to put my fucking stupid face on just because I noticed like the shit drew more attention. Like if I'm in the fucking video, as opposed to me just, like copying and pasting some fucking article.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like you see a human face, right? And you react to it. So it's like, fuck, okay, well, I guess I'll have to do this and that. And then, the creative part takes over. Well, maybe I can get clever with it and do all this shit. But at the end of the day, it's like, it's kind of depressing because I'm like, fuck, I don't like that mindset, especially with like the shit I talk and like where my sort of stances lie on shit. It's a tough compromise to make, but let me give you a good example. So I heard somebody, I watched a video and I apologize that I can't quote whoever the source is or cite whoever the source is, but they were talking about the music industry, right? And like, so before you would have a musician, right? It's a musician is creating art. Maybe they record with a band and they cut a record and they go through the whatever avenues that used to be available for you to get that record to the public to where you could sell it. And then you would hear it like on the radio.
Right.
Well, now it's everything is so the social media is like, that's the marketing, right? Everything's independent, which is in a way, like there's some things that are good about that, but the problem is now there's like a band, right? And like say this band, they've basically are in charge now of running their social media. So the music that you end up hearing, or you're more likely to hear, that's the better way to put it, is based on how good they are at navigating the social media space and getting that to your fucking ears. Now, I'm just saying that doesn't necessarily mean they're the best musicians. Okay.
Yeah.
So what you're getting at the tip of the iceberg is, and not to say they're bad by definition, I'm just saying it's not it's not the reverse concept whereas the model before, at least generally speaking, what you ended up hearing that got through all those filters was the best music, or was the people that created the music that people wanted to hear because of that structure. But now, yeah, it's like who can actively get more likes and who can navigate those fucking algorithms the best. And that's what gets out there.
Yeah. And you end up with a lot of fucking bullshit. And that's what it is, man. But that's social media as a whole, period. You know, everything up there. And like I always tell everybody, like, you're giving these likes, hundreds of thousands of likes, to someone that is literally not doing anything that you can't do. Right. Yeah. I mean, if it's Instagram modeling, there's about 3 fucking poses that you can do. You see every girl, every guy does 3 fucking poses.
What are the 3 poses, brother?
You know, right? You always have that fucking, they always do that one squat thing where they're like one leg out, right? Side. They have like the back shot with the leg, the ass poking out, legs. So you know what there's always the 3. I know what you mean. I know, you know, 3, yeah. But there's always that. There's always the people that are trying to either sell you something. There's always the people like, I mean, at the end of the day, they're not doing anything amazing, right? And then the stuff that gets hyped up is the dumb bullshit. You know, it's the dumb bullshit. I think that, I mean, people try to be nice about it, but really the people that are up there, think about it, anybody, doesn't matter who it is. You think about The Rock, right? 23 million fucking followers. He's making God knows how much money off his Instagram account. Have you, with the exception that, he can afford nicer things, right? But have you seen him post anything that you don't do on a regular? You don't hold your fucking kids. You don't you don't go down by the lake. Why is him standing by the lake get 200,000 likes? You know? Yeah. He posted a picture, Joe Rogan, man, post a picture of your fucking steak, 40,000 fucking likes. Dude. You post something about wanting to improve people's mental health, 1 fucking like.
Yeah, dude. No, fuck yeah. And like, so for like The Rock or Joe Rogan or whatever, you got to wonder too, and not necessarily specifically these 2, but all the people in this position, once you get, and they're humans too, right? So once they get into that mindset, are they going to the lake just so they can get that shot? And then
they are
likes, dude.
You know, everything on social media is for likes. That's what we do now. Everything that we do. Think about it.
Fucked up, dude. It is so true, but
it is fucked up. Even on our level, everything that you put up on there is to create engagement. You don't want to do it. You're fucking doing it. Everybody's out there trying to create content, create consistent content. Okay, what can I take a picture of now? I gotta drive more people to my page. What can I take a picture of now? What can I show now? What can I do now? You know, I want to get their attention. I'm going to post this, or I'm going to say this, or I'm going to do whatever. And it's never really what it is. They're not really good. They're trying to get that next click. And that's it, man. Because you're not going to see their real life. You don't see their real life. You don't see The Rock's real life. You never will.
Dude.
Rogan's real life.
You don't see his wife slapping him across the face because, like, you know, she tried to get a little bit of like some morning D, and he wasn't up for it.
He wasn't up for it.
He wasn't up for it, right? And she fucking slapped him, dude. You ain't gonna see that on Instagram.
Fuck no. Nobody does. The only time you see anything negative on Instagram or any social media is also for likes.
Yeah.
You know, they put their, oh my God, I had such a, oh, I'm going to kill myself. Oh, I'm going to do this. Oh,
Bro, that's fucked. Yes, no.
bro,
Or like, I'm
pay
crying.
attention. Yeah.
I'm crying. Like, have you ever seen those posts? And this is fucked up, but it's like, yeah, I'm a little emotional right now. And it's just like a 3-second video that I'm just like,
Yeah. Like you're so
dude,
emotional. You still had time to fucking open your
to
phone.
take the
open your
picture of
fucking-
it.
Yeah. Open the fucking Instagram, start a live stream to tell everybody how fucking emotional you are. Like,
Dude.
bro, the last time I had a fucking breakdown, I wasn't thinking of shit, but breaking the fuck
No.
down.
But break it down, dude. No, that's true. That's well, it's funny too, because like so that part of that sort of that compromise and that fucking or what's the word I'm looking for, that challenge or that I don't know, man, that battle that I wage against me and like promoting the show. Yeah, dude, like I'll be doing shit, like genuine shit. And then part of my mind, because like I said, because this is a passion project, man, this show is fucking, there's a lot behind this, dude. There's like years and years and years of like thoughts and shit that like I want to get out there. So part of that wanting to give that access to as many people as possible promotes a certain mentality where it's like, well, so what I'm trying to say is I'll be doing activities, right? And in my head, I'm thinking like, ooh, this would be a good shot for it to put. I was like, fuck. But like, at least I'm smart enough to understand that that's going on. Right. And so I try to take the helicopter view and be like, okay, like you can, in the interest of running your business, because it is, you know what I mean? We're up and running. We're an LLC. It's a real thing. I'm not saying we're pulling in all kinds of income or whatever, but it is, it's an entity, right? And the goal is to pull in money. So I take it. That's how seriously I take it. I take is this. I'll be honest. I take this as it's my first job. Even though obviously the job, my full-time job, is how I feed my family.
Right. For now.
But for now, yeah, for now, this is my soul is more interested in doing this.
For sure.
Right. Because I believe in it wholeheartedly in what I'm doing. We wouldn't have done 52 weeks in a row. You know what I'm saying? Like if that wasn't the case. So that being said, man, like, yeah, so sometimes I will make those decisions like, ooh, cool. This would be, you know what I mean? This would be a nice little post for the Skip the Noise page. And I'm always like, I struggle with that because I look at it and I recognize that I'm doing it and I'll do it anyway. Right. Because that's the unfortunate reality of the thing is you do need that attention. But yeah, you know, it's hard not to get lost in that though. And I'll tell you this story's funny. So, and maybe some of your listeners know who I'm talking about, but I have Sirius XM, right? And I listen to Shade 45, and they have a guy on there, named Rude Jude, right? Rude Jude used to be on Jenny Jones back in the day. But he has a show on Shade 45. He's been on Shade 45 for the longest fucking time. But anyway, you'll see where this is going here in a minute, but he had a homegirl, or he calls it his homegirl, whatever. So his homegirl was an escort, for lack of a better word. Right. Yeah. And she basically would get paid to, piss on people. Right. So she was basically having a start. I'm just summarizing the story here, but she was having an issue where she would like literally give herself fucking urinary tract infections because she was like, man, every time I actually just go to the bathroom, I feel like I'm flushing money down the toilet. Right. So, but that's kind of how it is with social media, bro, because even then, like, I think about things, or like we're talking about podcasts or whatever, like I'll be having a conversation with someone and I'll be like, you know what? I don't want to talk about this right now because this would be a great topic for the podcast,
for the fucking podcast, right?
Hold that piss. Don't let that piss hit that toilet water, motherfucker. That's cash.
That's cash money. And we start to develop our lives. And I think that's where you see these people that have these millions of, I don't even know if they, at some point, maybe they did recognize, but then you get so famous, you start to lose track of what your life was or is. And it becomes all about, you know, that social presence. And this is, I only want to do Instagram worthy shit. You only want to do social media.
Yeah, I don't even want to I ain't even worried about it, but it's Instagram worthy.
Right.
Like
right.
if this ain't getting no likes, like
why even do it?
Why even do it? Why even eat a bowl of Lucky Charms, bro?
Right?
Like
bullshit. I want to eat the biggest bowl. I want to eat Lucky Charms off a hippo's ass in fucking Africa. It's absolutely ridiculous. I don't know, man. It's crazy, but I don't ever want to get to that point. I really don't.
No, I don't either, man. And maybe this is like you can hear the music coming in the background, the like the parade fucking music or whatever.
Yeah.
But maybe sometimes I feel like our generation we do have some sort of obligation because we've seen the other side, to where it's like we understand kind of what the future might hold. But there's also an obligation to discern that reality or sort of explain that reality to the people. Like I said, with my kids, like sometimes I'll flip out on like really random shit. But what that is just me taking this weird stand, where it's like, okay. Like it's cool to, you know what I mean? Have your thought process being, fuck, I'm getting like, you know what I mean? Like memes and like your whole, like fucking playing Minecraft and all this shit. But
yeah.
At the you know what I'm saying? Like, by the end of the day, like I also need you to know what it's like when like three guys want to kick your ass and you have to run, you have to sprint through the fucking woods. That's something that's weird, man. Like, so just to talk about that for a second, like when I was my son's age, and don't get me wrong, man, like I'm not like criticizing him. Like he's got some fucking badass qualities. Dude is smart as shit. Dude's way fucking smarter than me. 100%. But like, there are these things that I try to make sure I force because I do observe, right? And I see, I'm like, yo, like me and the homie Steve were like making our own fucking bombs. Like at his age, you know what I mean? Like we were cutting up, we're getting them leftover, black cats that we didn't pop on 4th of July and then hiding them, you know what I mean? And making bombs and like doing all kinds of shit. And like, right. There was no
that did that.
Yeah, no, fuck no, dude. We cut off. Yeah. We'd get all the gunpowder, save up all the gunpowder, clip the tips of black cats, pour them into this thing. And we knew exactly how to roll up the shit and tape the sides and put the wick in there and make like fucking not even M80s. Those motherfuckers, like M500s.
Or the old film canisters, 35 millimeter film canisters.
Oh shit, that's some like anarchy cookbook shit. I had a dude. We had this friend of ours that made, like, he sliced the top off of a Coke can and made this sort of like quasi like pipe bomb and shit. So yeah, it was real, like explosives like were a big deal in my neighborhood, man. And then not only that, but like BMX freedom, dude, just like going, bro, my mom was strict as fuck, but like fucking, I could just do whatever. Like if like she worked or whatever late and I'd get home, like I had my own keys at fucking 9 or 10 or whatever,
latchkey kid for sure.
Latchkey kid, 100%. Ride or die. Let myself in the house, and then like somebody calls or somebody comes to the door, jump on the bike, dude, and just cruise like until whenever, and getting into all kinds of shit. You might be cruising around behind, we'd be fishing or whatever behind, there's some little creek behind it, like a shopping center. And maybe there was 2 teenagers that were smoking that were like talking shit, and you have to like psychologically get yourself out of that situation. Like, we're getting fucked up. We're only like 10, but these like 15-year-olds are talking like they're going to kick our ass. What do you do?
Life, man.
Yeah. Like you have to have some kind of like way to conduct yourself, because it's obvious you're not going with like, oh, I'm going to like fight these guys. Like you're going to get the shit kicked out, but you can't run either. You know what I mean? Like, it's a weird random example of like shit that I know for a fact that like my son, and sometimes that kind of stuff bothers me, is like, I wonder like when he's responsible for like other human beings, at what point do I really push some of these things, or is he going to get those some kind of way?
No.
And right. And so that's the bigger question, is like, this is my specific example, but I'm talking about it to highlight a bigger problem. That's fucking every kid in every household. What's going to be like? What's it going to be like when they're responsible for their own kids, or they're responsible for whatever, and they haven't been that's what I'm saying. Like, they haven't gone through these little interactions that, you know, fuck, man, I don't know what's going to happen. It's kind of scary.
No, man, I agree with you 100%. And it's crazy how that happens, because it's a matter of like, when you think about it right now, we're supposed to be, or I don't know, well, we're supposed to be in one of the most woke times of our life right now, right?
Sure, it's woke as fuck right
and
now.
Let kids be kids, and let them do whatever. If they want to wear a dress and high heels and they're a dude, let them do it, and that's fine, right? But we're supposedly so woke, but at the same time so restrictive, because goddamn, let your kid walk down the block by himself, and we're going to lock you up for being a bad fucking parent, right? But when we're fucking kids, bro, I'd be on the other side of town, and that's where you learn about life. Let us be who we are. Let us go out there and venture. Let us really find out, like, no, we're not. We're so woke, but yet we're not. You're not allowing your kids to do shit or learn any life lessons. You keep them in a bubble. You can be as woke as you want, as long as you don't leave your bedroom. you know, how much can you really learn living in an echo chamber?
No, you can't. That's the whole problem with like the way just reality works in general. That's why, like, I feel so strongly about like podcasting, and the podcasting community is, you can be, what I'm saying? You can be two bros in a basement, right? And, and like, I always give that's my example. Cause like you see those motherfuckers, like you'll get a follow, right? And it's like, it's literally some shit like that. Like,
yep.
Hey man, like the description is like, you know what I mean? We're just a couple of bros,
couple of bros in our beanbag chairs.
Oh yeah, in our beanbag chairs, and we're stoned as fuck. Yeah, we're hanging out. It's like, it's all right, but like, there's an opportunity here to actually get in the minds of people, but yeah, you got to get past those algorithms. But
yeah, man,
I don't know, brother, but I think that's probably a good place, man. We did, Jesus Christ. I mean, honestly, I knew I was going to bring you on at some point for the show, and hopefully sooner than later. And the vision was to bring you on with the full crew. But I commend you, sir, for coming in the clutch and saving the week for Skip the Noise podcast. That cannot be understated. So thank you so much, Shepard.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Fuck
I got
yeah,
you back
dude.
Anytime, brother.
Hell yeah. Yeah. That's what it's all about, man. Real dudes. Skip the Noise podcast recognizes real fucking people that are out there doing real shit. And that's what we promote, and that's what we'll support to the day that this thing is over, hopefully, which is never. Hopefully I'm dead before it's over. And I mean that 100%. But check out Deep Meaningful Conversations, Deep MCs. Great show. Like I said, Skip the Noise gets the 100% approval rating from us. And man, without further ado, I guess we'll shut down. We'll get another tune from, like I said, I'm feeling that loyalty vibe today. So we're going Jeremy Masters on the cut. Mike Tacklebox obviously opened the show as he normally does, but Jeremy's been in the lab, man, getting these rhythms together, and we'll hopefully have him on sometime soon. So anyway, check out the vivacious grooves, if you will, and we will see you next week. So thanks again, Shepard, and it's been great. Take care, guys. Have a good one.